Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're unpacking the recent Q2 2025 earnings report from pharmaceutical giant Eli Lilly.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission here is to, cut through all the noise, extract the core insights, and truly understand what's going on with one of the most talked about companies in the health sector.
Definitely.
We'll explore their incredible successes, a surprising setback, and what it all means for you.
Yeah, it's quite striking, isn't it? How a company can post such phenomenal numbers, yet still face, a significant market reaction.
Exactly.
We'll be looking at the raw financial performance, the key growth engines, and then dive into the specific news that really spooked investors.
And connect those dots.
Connect those dots, right, to the bigger picture of the pharma industry and what it reveals about how information impacts perception.
So why should you care about Lilly's quarter? Well, whether you're interested in the pharmaceutical industry, maybe curious about market dynamics, or just want to understand the forces shaping innovation in health, this deep dive offers a really compelling case study. Let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
So first off, Eli Lilly didn't just meet expectations this quarter. They absolutely crushed them. Let's start with the impressive numbers.
Okay. They reported revenue of $15.56 billion. That's a massive 38% increase year over year.
Wow, 38%.
Yeah. And to put that in perspective, their adjusted earnings per share, or EPS, which is a key measure of profitability, hit $6.31.
Comfortably beating predictions?
Comfortably beating what analysts predicted, yes. Their reported net income for the quarter also climbed to about $5.66 billion.
Right.
These figures really did handily surpass market expectations.
And what was the powerhouse behind these truly incredible figures? What drove that?
Well, it's undeniably the GLP-1 franchise. These are drugs like Mounjaro and Zepbound.
Right, the weight loss and diabetes drugs we hear so much about.
Exactly. They work by mimicking a natural hormone to help regulate blood sugar and curb appetite. That's the main driver here.
And the sales numbers for those?
Okay, Mounjaro sales were approximately $5.2 billion. That's up roughly 68% year over year.
68%. Incredible.
And Zepbound sales just skyrocketed, about $3.38 billion, up around 172% year over year.
172%.
It's phenomenal growth. And this performance led Lilly to raise its full-year guidance. They lifted revenue projections to $62 billion.
60 to 62 billion.
And adjusted EPS to $21.7523. So that signals strong confidence in continued demand, robust margins from these high-value therapies.
Which then fuels R&D and acquisitions.
Precisely. It supports their research and development pipeline and also those recent strategic sort of bolt-on acquisitions they've made. The core insight here really is that Lilly's GLP-1 drugs aren't just driving growth. They're creating a whole new financial paradigm for the company.
Pushing revenue and profitability way beyond expectation.
Way beyond.
Okay. But despite those phenomenal highs, something surprising happened. Something that caught the market off guard and caused a sharp stock drop. What was it?
Right. And the setback really highlights how critical every single piece of data is in pharma.
Every trial result matters.
Immensely. So Orforglipron, that's Eli Lilly's much-anticipated oral obesity pill.
The pill version, okay.
Yes, the pill. A key trial result came out, and it disappointed relative to market hopes.
Disappointed how? The drug didn't work.
No, the weight loss results were still significant. But they were just a bit shy of the market's frankly, sky-high expectations.
Expectations.
Exactly. This is what we often call binary trial news in pharma. It's often seen as a hit or a miss, and that single piece of data can immediately swing market sentiment.
You could feel the shift.
You really could. It spooked investors, drove a sharp intraday stock drop, even with that strong financial quarter we just talked about.
And analysts?
Analysts reacted pretty quickly by meaningfully trimming their models for future pill revenue.
Wow. That a single pipeline event could have such a, disproportionate impact is fascinating. Beyond the immediate market reaction, what does this incident tell us about Eli Lilly's maybe underlying business model or vulnerabilities?
Well, it definitely highlights what's known as concentration risk.
Concentration risk?
Meaning Eli Lilly has a heavy dependence on this GLP-1 franchise, Mounjaro, Zepbound.
We're carrying the company right now.
The other growth engine, absolutely. But it means their future growth projections are highly sensitive to competitive outcomes, particularly from rivals like Novo Nordisk.
Right, their main competitor.
And also sensitive to broader pricing or coverage dynamics in the market.
Yeah.
What insurers will pay.
So the takeaway is that even with blockbusters, too much focus on one area makes you vulnerable.
That's it. The key takeaway here is that even with a fantastic product lineup, A company can face significant vulnerability if its future growth is too concentrated in a single area. It makes them highly susceptible to specific competitive news or, like we saw here, trial outcomes.
Okay, so we've covered the great numbers, the good, we've covered the surprising setback, the bad. But how did the market react immediately? You mentioned a drop, but let's talk about that volatility, the ugly part, maybe.
Yes, the immediate reaction.
Yeah.
Even with those excellent financials we outlined, that single clinical readout for Orforglipron caused a double-digit intraday sell-off in Eli Lilly's stock.
Double digits. Just like that.
Just like that.
Hmm.
It was a stark reminder of how quickly sentiment can flip in this industry. It dramatically shows investors how binary pharma trial news can be.
Binary meaning pass-fail, essentially.
Essentially, yes. A single piece of data can be seen as a complete pass or fail by the market, having an immediate and dramatic impact on a company's valuation.
And for traders, people actively managing positions.
For traders, this kind of news dramatically increases short-term risk. The cost of making certain financial bets, like options, spikes because implied volatility jumps when news like this hits. Premiums get expensive fast.
That's a very clear explanation of the concentration risk and the immediate market shock. But couldn't one argue that any highly successful pharma company eventually faces this kind of dependency on its blockbusters? Is this truly unique to Lilly or just the nature of the beast in this sector?
That's an excellent point, a really good question. And you're right, many big pharma companies become heavily reliant on their successful drugs. That part isn't unique.
So what's different here?
The difference for Lilly, I think, and what makes this situation particularly acute, is the sheer scale of their GLP-1 success, combined with the intense market expectation that Orforglipron would be the next massive multi-billion-dollar oral version to complement that injectable success.
So the expectations were maybe outsized.
Arguably, yes. So while the type of risk isn't unique, its potential impact on Lilly is magnified by their high valuation and the intense focus specifically on their obesity pipeline.
Okay, that makes sense. So connecting this to the bigger picture.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, there's certainly regulatory and margin uncertainty longer term. If other oral competitors emerge strongly, or if, say, safety or efficacy concerns limit uptake of their products,
Or if insurers push back on price.
or if major payers push back hard on pricing, exactly, then the upside potential for Lilly could compress, especially relative to its current, pretty lofty market valuation.
So the ultimate insight from this immediate market reaction is?
I'd say the ultimate insight is that in the pharmaceutical world, even when a company is financially thriving, future expectations tied to pipeline innovation can trigger immediate and drastic market shifts based on just a single piece of scientific data. Perception matters hugely.
Perception and pipeline. Okay, so for you, our informed listener, what should we be paying attention to going forward? What are the key signals that will tell us how this story develops?
Good question. The first thing to watch is Eli Lilly's own commentary on the Orforglipron development path.
What they say about it next.
Exactly. Specifically, their next steps, any revised submission timelines, and any updated market assumptions they share publicly. That will be crucial.
And secondly,
pay attention to the fine print in their next guidance update. Look for specifics behind that raised full-year guidance, things like the drug mix, geographical contributions, the timing of sales.
those details offer clues about future growth drivers.
They do. They offer clues about exactly where they see their growth coming from beyond the current blockbusters.
Okay, that covers what Lilly might say or do. What about external factors? What should we be keeping a close eye on outside the company?
Absolutely critical. You'll want to watch for reimbursement and pricing signals from the major payers in the U.S.
Like PBMs and Medicare.
Like PBMs, the pharmacy benefit managers who negotiate drug prices for insurance companies and Medicare, yes. Any signals from them can significantly alter the long-term profit margins for these GLP-1 drugs for Lilly.
Potentially impacting their overall profitability down the line.
Significantly. And finally, keep an eye on analyst model updates. Many analysts will be, or already are, cutting or re-rating their growth forecasts, specifically for Orforglipron.
So watching the consensus change.
Watching those consensus revisions will be very telling about shifting market sentiment and expectations.
And any advice for people tracking the stock itself?
Well, for those of you tracking market positions, if you fundamentally like the company's story, the strong quarter and the guidance raise certainly argue for considering long-term exposure.
Yeah. But be prepared for swings.
Be prepared for headline-driven swings, definitely. You might even consider buying on weakness if you have that long-term conviction. But remember, as we've discussed, These binary pipeline events mean the market can react very suddenly.
Making short-term trading riskier.
It dramatically increases short-term risks for quick trades. We saw how fast things shifted after this trial news. Implied volatility spiked, making options premiums higher, and selling premium now carries elevated tail risk because of these potential sudden moves.
Got it. We've taken quite a journey today, from Eli Lilly's incredible Q2 successes to a surprising setback and the market's, well, wild reaction. What's the biggest takeaway for you, our listener, from this deep dive?
What this deep dive into Eli Lilly's Q2 earnings truly reveals is the intense, almost paradoxical nature of the pharmaceutical industry. It really hammers it home.
Paradoxical how?
Well, you can have these unprecedented financial triumphs driven by genuinely breakthrough drugs, yet a single clinical trial result, even if it's just seen as less than perfect, can instantly reshape perceptions and trigger massive market shifts.
So science and market value are tightly, sometimes violently linked.
Inextricably and often volatilely linked. It's a stark reminder of that reality in pharma.
Yeah, this journey through Lilly's quarter really shows that even for companies seemingly on top of the world, external data, pipeline news, and market sentiment can quickly dictate their immediate fate. It's a masterclass in market dynamics, really.
Indeed. And this raises, I think, an important question for you, the listener, to consider. How might this specific Eli Lilly example influence how you evaluate news about future groundbreaking medical advancements?
Beyond the headlines.
Right. Beyond the headlines. What deeper questions will you ask about the interplay between that exciting scientific progress, the sometimes feverish market expectations, and the ultimate real-world impact? Something to think about.